r/AskWomen. Accurate_avocado 9637 says, what has someone said to you, good or bad, that you couldn't believe it came out of their mouth? I'm just genuinely wondering. Alexi_Lupin says, I worked in a supermarket and had a couple. One was a woman who came in and asked where the soy sauce was. I pointed her the right way and let her know I could call someone to help her if she had any issues. She was over there for ages, then she came back to me empty-handed and asked, is that all there is? I said, I believe so. Were you after a specific brand? And she said, as if it was the most normal thing in the world, no, I just didn't want to buy any of that Asian shit. What? On so many levels, what? The other story is a customer asked me if I was pregnant. She wasn't even a regular, so there was no connection. Why on earth do people ask this? Anyway, I said no. And she goes, oh, just overweight. Long pause. I said, yes. Then she realized what she'd said and tried to walk it back, like, oh, I didn't mean I'm overweight too, but I just walked away lol. You_no_Juno says, a guy at work saw me enter numbers on the PC quickly and without looking. He said, you have strong fingers. You must be lesbian. He also said that I could be his secretary later when he has his own company. I was studying to be higher educated than him lol. My manager at the same company saw me in a crop top and high-rise jeans, so still no skin showing, and said can't afford an entire shirt. I could be your sugar daddy. In the stress, I thought, what are macho men most afraid of? Being gay, and said I don't have time for that, but I could ask my boyfriend if he's interested. His face and awkward mumble were worth it. Never got a remark like that again. Most_invite_7278 says, you can drive a stick shift? I thought girls couldn't. And even if you do drive stick, I doubt you've ever put it in 6th gear. Hardboiled Ho says, Sil told me I was lucky to have not been sick during my pregnancy. I had miscarried at 8 weeks. She was well aware of this. IDK what she was thinking. Ajalami says, I was having a conversation with this one guy, he's Indian, and talking to a bunch of black girls, me included, and he just straight up said the N-word to our faces. He didn't act like it was a slip and just continued on like he said nothing wrong. I stared at him like, did you just say that? And he didn't even notice. I was too shook to say anything, and since no one else said anything, I just kept quiet cause I didn't want to be the radical one. Funnily enough, one the girls from the former conversation defended incest as well as epibophilia, and no matter what we said, like giving her examples of why that would be wrong, she stayed firm in her opinion. She's still a part of our friend, but I keep my distance from and only talk to her when she talks to me. Snowden 556 says, I'll record 1 hour of my mother-in-law to see how many you can legitimately accumulate in aggregate. Bangasbata says, my old coworker mocked an Indian accent to my face after telling me she was glad I was white, and my current coworker told me on Friday that Indian and Chinese people don't wear gloves to clean toilets. We are school cleaners, and I was baffled. Lil Miss 85 says, my dad to me during one of our arguments, you were just a waste of sperm. Nordic Seedling says, talking to the receptionist at work, a guy on his 60s. He felt comfortable enough to comment on how much my boobs had grown through pregnancy. I was so weirded out, I just left. Impossible Ride 1213 says, I used to work at an auto auction. My guys were at lunch and a transporter came to get a vehicle. I got him his paperwork, the key for the vehicle, confirmed the numbers, and told him to have a good day. This man, a complete stranger, looks me in my face and says, that's it? You're not going to spank me or anything? I pretended to laugh and got as far away as I could. Insert Madupmama here says, Your friend is in hell spoken to me by a former coworker years ago when I told her a friend of mine committed suicide. Aesthesia1 says, I'm a brown girl and I'm married to a white man. At some point his cousin said to my face that there are proven biological reasons why races shouldn't mix. The worst part about this is that people still try to defend him and say he isn't racist. Kazima Payne says, someone called me bubbly, which is the complete opposite of how I perceived myself to be. It put into perspective how people may see me a lot differently than I see myself. r/AskWomen. Canary7214 says, when you were at your lowest, how did you turn your life around? Dragonflanorth4414 says, I got in off social media, read scripture and started meditation sincerely. Improved my self-concept and now I love my life. It's possible to turn your life around. Pick anything that feels like will make you feel better and start there and the rest will flow. Trust the process, trust yourself. Anisa1102 says, divorce from an abusive addict. Covered hit. I was unemployed and in debt. I handed my life to God. Prayed and prayed. Therapy also helped. At some point I got this job in peak covered for which I had zero experience. I'm now department head and vice chief operating officer. Have no debt. Live under my means. My daughter is thriving and in a relationship with the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. Nania Leaf says, I'm still working on it. Here to read everyone's answers. Jagarisu says, a few years ago I decided to end my life by jumping in front of a train and slipped on a rock, and instead of getting in front of the train I fell backwards and fell hard. Somehow my then phone started to play I Survive with the band We Came as Romans. And I just laid there and listened to the song. After that day I decided to turn my life around and try and make myself get better. And still working on trying on the get better part, but I'm not as depressed and I'm actually happy where I'm today. Slowly taking my steps forward. Bitter_sweet_69 says, suicide attempt, therapy, starting a new life basically. Bethany_H21 says, turned myself to Almighty God. I gave everything to God's decision, that's it. Luffy_Tuffy says, very slowly, one day at a time. Astralpavans47 says, going through this right now. The first thing I've done is get sober from alcohol. I've also been making it a priority to go on walks/hikes outdoors again. Signed up for university. Eating cleaner. Seaworthusworth says, after a failed attempt on my own life, I had the epiphany that part of the depressive spiral I'd been caught in was that I was spending too much time in my own head. I was working part-time, 15 to 20 HRS/week, for minimum wage, and had an unpredictable schedule. I felt I was behind where I should be in life and I struggled to even buy groceries. Tax forms from the time show I made 10K per year. I'd been trying to get a second job for several months unsuccessfully, and I wasn't able to engage with hobbies instead because I had, then undiagnosed, ADD and couldn't self-start in that environment at all. Instead of continuing to look for an official part-time job, I started gigging and volunteering. Anything that would make me leave the house and do a project. I helped strangers move for grocery money, wrote concert reviews in exchange for free drinks, opted out of spending the holidays with family so I could pet sit instead. Once I had something to do that got me up and moving, it was easier to keep up the momentum and spend time doing stuff and talking to people instead of rehashing my own failures. Then, suddenly, someone I gigged for came through for me with a referral for full-time work. That job ended up sucking, but after 6 months there I had the experience to get something better in the same industry. That eventually lead me to a decent 25k/E position that also gave me the free time to go back to college for a master's. From the time of my depressive pit to starting grad school was 3 years. 2 years later, I graduated and got a job in my field at 40k. That was my first step on an actual career path that I've been on ever since. Gadjolpmo says, I filed for divorce. I then took the time I was investing into trying to make him happy and put it into myself. 4 years post-divorce. Never been happier or healthier. r/AskWomen. Mad Badbud says, what are the best mom movies out there? Killjoy95 says, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once was written by its filmmakers in reverence to their mothers, so it's a great contender. Existentialcree_s says, I liked Stepmom, it always made me cry. Lady Bird is a good one. Little Miss Sunshine. Uncle Buck and Away. Home Alone kinda. Jakewellin30 says, Bad Moms is funny. Above_ground_full says, Terminator 1 and 2. Ushalan Abadi 1807 says, Something's Gotta Give with Diane Keaton. I65 female, love this movie. Wilsagansk says, Keeping Mum. A masterpiece of dark British humor with a perfect cast. Runoy Potato 69 says, Beaches. G0 at 616 says, Rosemary's Baby. Xiangsuxiang says, movies with the best moms or movies THST moms would like. Slight_literature_67 says, are you asking for movies about moms or movies featuring good moms? Luffy_Tuffy says, Otherhood, because I said so. Transportation Beak 710 says, here to nominate Tully, which is something every new mom should watch. Pancake Queen 13 says, I don't know if it's a good mom movie, but I really loved August Osage County for those of us with difficult relationships with our mothers. Sunshine 8665 says, The Banger Sisters. Aprolajatipius says, This is 40 is incredibly relatable as a mom and it's hilarious. Monsophthalmus says, August Osage County. Amandum Zeronium says, Tully. 5 Noitus Federico says, Everything Everywhere All at Once and Turning Red. Hennepin says, Mother with Albert Brooks. Lazilazilazilazil Jane says, Y2 Mama Tambeen. Revden says, Mama. Revden says, Serial Mom. Candlestick_maker 76 says, Serial Mom. 1994, Kathleen Turner, great cast, fun plot, and you will simultaneously wish your mom had that much chutzpah and be glad that she doesn't. Aga1 says, she's having a baby, more about becoming a mother, but still. Great film. Revden says, Mommy Dearest. Omni Celestial says, The Joy Luck Club, a movie about 4 Chinese immigrant mothers and their daughters. It's so heartfelt, and especially for those with immigrant backgrounds. Library Friendly 8747 says, Aliens. Variety Prudent 6458 says, Stepmom. Le Cobb says, A Mom for Christmas. Steve says, Animated, Coraline, Turning Red Comedy, Freaky Friday, Mamma Mia, Book Club Drama, Lady Bird, Moonlight. Comfortable Basis 64 says, Mermaids. That's all for this video, thank you for watching, please subscribe.